Welcome everybody to another stream. My info, blah blah blah. General disclaimer. Again, everything's for educational purpose or entertainment, depending on what you derive to be entertainment. And again, past blah blah blah. You guys know the drill. I always hate doing that because it's such a checkbox that needs to be checked, but for no apparent reason because it doesn't really matter. Let's get started with yesterday's review. Pretty on point on our part, in terms of when we were going, what time we were going, what we ended up getting. The only real deviation is when we hit into Asia / pre-market for New York, is when we started sort of deviating with Bitcoin, and SPY sort of had another sort of repriced. They're sort of dead set in keeping price up here for some reason. I think they sort of decided this is the new price bracket for Bitcoin at this stage in time. So I don't think they'll sort of push it too far unless there is a significant change that needs to be corrected against. Because every time we've been moving lower with SPY, we've been sort of staying stagnant or correcting up and correcting down with Bitcoin. So it does sort of say to me that they're just happy with pricing it at this area here, and they've been doing so since the end of March. As you can see, all the moves end up just becoming sort of non-committal. I mean, sure, Bitcoin's SPY pretty much has the same sort of thing, but moved a lot earlier. Moved a lot later in terms of grabbing this, going high to high, but ends up looking similar. Coming into today, we do have a couple of news that will cause a mess or a kerfuffle, or whatever you want to call it. So that's the only thing you want to make sure of. And that's the sort of let's see, when is that? It's coming in just in. Oh, they already came in. Cool. So we have that coming in right now. So hopefully looking for some reaction. Out of the charts or some direction, because we don't want this to sort of be the be all and end all, because we have non-farm payroll Friday. So nothing sort of too major. If anything comes out of it, nothing sort of too major should come out of it. Discussing more on what happened yesterday. Still waiting for this to load up. Figure. We can start going again. Yesterday we came in here, we saw this nice drop. We were like, okay, they were letting people go short here, they let people go long here, they slammed them down one more time, they pushed up, grabbed a few longs. I said wait it out. Again, as soon as 10 o'clock comes, they start moving in that direction to grab the double bottom, and you got your double bottom, and now you're looking at this like, yep, that's nice and easy. Double bottom shifts all the way until 2. So 2 o'clock was when we had our meeting, and we were going in the direction of up prior to 2 o'clock. So our natural reaction would be to take this down. Again, same thing with ES, but it continued to go down even during pre-market. And you'd expect if this Bitcoin were to go down and continue on that downward slope, it would break this low here and start pushing itself down, but instead it sort of didn't. It sort of decided to hold itself here and sort of close these areas out. You can see when it sort of closes these areas out, it starts giving you another double bottom before skyrocketing on the opposite side. And you can see similar to that again, double bottom here, very deep throw, comes in high, comes in trading here. So we'll probably try correct against yesterday's move to some extent, but maybe not sort of too much. Chat box up there before I forget. Again, looks like a boring day, to be honest. I mean, nothing sort of interesting is happening, nothing sort of too crazy. I mean, you can see that we did make a break for that 4 hour zone that we're looking for. We managed to catch a lot of short here, push back up. And again, when we're here, we're talking about the likelihood of us spiking to grab these guys here and liquidate them up here. Then we sort of push back down again. Now we're looking at a double bottom scenario as we are trading sort of very nicely within sort of this area here. You can see that just collecting back at the same area. So more often than not, we look for this to try and correct it upwards. The only sort of thing we got to watch out for is the fact that Bitcoin is sort of technically having a field day with its sort of meteoric rise. And if we sort of look at that like this, again, there's where we spiked up, there's where we pushed back down, and we finally sort of broke it. And if we look at Bookmap, we can see how those orders ended up playing out, where people went short, where people went long, etc. etc. I'll have to go all the way back here. You can see everything here is pretty much heavy on the longs. You can see that's when we came here initially, sort of played a bit. Yeah, so this was that there. Then we sort of pushed it up, grabbed a few longs, liquidate them. There's that push up to the FOMC meeting. There's the actual meeting itself, announcement. There's your longs. They get shifted into these shorts. They sort of pushed up more long. Got a few shorts in there, but again, just sort of spiked in. You can see that this wall here was here as a stopgap, and you can see how a lot of these longs got liquidated early on, but it sort of found itself just consolidating at this area here. You can see where we have the previous area of shorts, it just sort of accumulated before sort of pushing up. So there was some signs that this was where we're naturally stopping for Bitcoin, even though we were continuing to slide down for ES and SPY. I don't need to look back at here, you guys know. Good morning, bro. How you doing? Now if go into sort of this area where we sort of broke this, you can see how people let people sort of trick themselves into going long before sort of pushing them out. And then we've got a decent amount of shorts at these areas here. Safe to say most of these guys are out of the market just by looking at this, and you can see that is sort of reinforced with letting people go short here. So the fact that they're going short means that they need to add more shorts back into this zone before they can think about reaching for higher sort of territory. Not too far in terms of where we're expecting it to push. Again, we're not expecting it to go to the center of the earth and just reach rock bottom. Again, we can do that tomorrow if we really need to. What I'm more concerned with is the disparity between ES and Bitcoin. How this is just on a slide down, uh, and it's sort of at an area where you'd expect it to try and push up. I made it back. You did say double bottom. I made it back. That's good, man. Good to hear, man. Always happy when you guys are making money. So again, they're just moving inverse to each other, which is always not the best of things. Actually, no, it is because then it just becomes easier to sort of tell because one will ultimately give up the ghost and just follow the other. So essentially, one will lead the other on the round robin. So we've been here before, so nothing sort of new. But again, just sliding down, trying to get those shorts to warrant slash justify us continue going higher if we need to. Again, same thing we had yesterday. That's little pressure wall here. We talked about them before about how they're just applied as a measure to sort of try and make people go down. And I like calling the pressure wall. I don't know if anybody else has coined a different name or terminology for it. Because again, most of this stuff is new, so most of the stuff is new, so it should not really have like a fancy name to it, but you can call them whatever as long as it's something that you can identify uh, and sort of say, yeah, that's what that is when you're talking to someone else. So it's applying pressure now. It's making people go short. If anyone goes long, they stand the risk of hitting into that wall. And if they go long into this wall and it lets it hit into this wall, then that's how sort of say, yeah, they're just gonna fish for lower, and they'll continue lower. But if these get removed, then pressure's gone, and it sort of springboards up and just takes a lot more a lot of liquidity out with it. I don't think they stop it out yet because again, I mean, if we look at extend this here, we came in and just missed breaking the weekly high, so we still haven't broken and broken the high as a sort of a false break. So there's still that to be done if we're looking for us to sort of break down. But the way things are moving, I don't think we break down. Just purely based on the fact that we didn't break it, we're just accumulating short. I think they're using this chance to say make people go short, then they'll try push it back up. But false breaks or not, again, it could definitely well be because again we have that sort of Friday data set looming. That always causes a kerfuffle with most things. And if we stretch out this essentially just looks like a stop hunt in terms of low. We close basically at the exact same low here. Nice little stop hunt, so it could easily just rear its ugly head back in and push back up. So that will give Bitcoin the I say drive to push back out, break the range. If you want to compare it to other altcoins, we can look at Ethereum. Ethereum should do more of the same thing. Again, it exactly did more of the same thing, just slightly looked slightly different. Again, there we go, around 3. There you go. There's that push up. There's that 2 o'clock. There's that slide down. There's that retest into this area where we had that 10 o'clock area. And there's that Asia push back up after the market close. Double top, slide down, grab the stops, hit back into that 4 more volume, higher volume area here. And then we want to see if they try to continue this further. If they try to continue further, the more they do this, the more they push up. Again, it was a sentiment that we had sort of on the previous day. If they try to sort of take their time with the short things, they'll push it back up and sort of take people for a ride, essentially. So that's not always something you want to be cognizant of. Is how long they take to do a certain move, because if they take too long, that means they're just prepping ideas and letting people fall victim to that. Oh, if I see red, I sell. If I see green, I buy. Victim or no victim, it looks fine. Again, it's just accumulating short very early on. It's nothing sort of too outlandish. We're just watching this mellow out. I think today's not going to be too much of a surprise day. We'll have a look at gold, see how that's coming along. It sort of went up pretty high, as you can see. I mean, it makes sense because everything went down. We expected to go high. If everything's going up, gold again, it needs to find a logical point. And again, I think it's found a decent point where things will start needing to flip itself. Uh, Let's sort of pull that up with ES on this screen here. Ugh, I hate this view. Much prefer this view here. Now just grab whatever. And we can see that when we sort of came into it, nothing much happened here. Again, Bitcoin sort of following gold's trend about going up in Asia, and you can see the final sort of dump came in, and we're sort of pushing up, and we're bearish on this. We're sort of bullish on this, and we can start building a picture now that okay, we probably are more inclined to believe one is bearish just purely based on the fact that it is pushing down further, and it is sort of at a low versus one being at a high and grabbing a lot more orders at this top level here. So it could easily just flip itself, and you can see one when one's at a high and one's at a low, it sort of try to flip itself, and it's sort of nice point to say, yep, there's your entry for one versus there's your entry for another. That's a nice little correlation that you can easily sort of surmise. The only issue is if actually no, if Bitcoin will take it in strides and just follow ES at the end of the day. I don't think it follows gold too much unless people start believing in the digital gold rush once again, and that's a story for another day. But coming to it, it's sort of logically looking like it's sort of sliding down unless we continue slipping. I don't think we continue down too far, at least today. I think it sort of gives itself a nice chance to sort of breathe, let people sort of get familiar with this new area if they go down here. So ideally looking for a slightly high. If we stop here, we stop here, then we may push down. But again, with this here, I mean, it could easily just sort of do this. You can just test this area here, push back up. Again, it's just something that you want to sort of note as a possibility that it does continue back higher as gold just people just run to gold as the fear of recession looms over their heads, because historically that's what they've done. And again, humans are like just notoriously just do the same thing over and over again, and they never learn. Yeah, pretty much a snooze fest, man. Calling for a PA day. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it's a PA day. Nothing stopping it from changing directions just out of nowhere. Uh, I think more so tomorrow is where you're looking for a bigger load to be sort of pushed out, just because you got that non-farm payroll and unemployment rate. Those always go crazy, especially in the forex market. So uh, if might not call it a pay day, might call it a setup day for Friday. End of the day, I think if we end up going high today, it sort of cements that we want to go low for Friday in the week on a red day or a red candle. I mean, we're opening red, which is usually bullish, usually a bit bullish for the most part. It just means that when we open the actual gates for the markets to trade, we can sort of squeeze all those shorts out, and we have been sort of building those shorts in prior to the market open. So it sort of says that we're setting out for at least to ring these guys out. Uh, if we ring these guys out, we can again grab a lot more breakout longs on the break of the weekly range. Then once we're up there, we can sort of consolidate a bit, and when we consolidate, uh, we can sort of grab we can then grab a lot more trade as well up here. Uh, Again, you gotta look at it where retail looks at it. They will come in. Uh, they'll come in here, or depending on if they draw it like this, they will come in. Yeah, they'll come in at the same point. They'll come in either here or here, and once they come in, that's sort of you saying, okay, they're in now. We can sort of wait for them to taper that. Any sort of push down, we can hold it up here before pushing further down here. So you can sort of break out, grab a bunch of longs, grab a lot of liquidity. May need to go up to this stop here, because I mean, this stop here will be a much closer stop for intermediate. There's longer term stops placed here, depending on which one they ultimately want to hit. You're just looking for longs to get grabbed. Once you get longs grabbed, then maybe Friday we can sort of push these guys here, because there's no way in chance that unemployment rate is reducing. It's probably gonna they're probably gonna print bad numbers. Just because it's what ends up what the charts end up looking like. The numbers will feel bad. I don't think they hit forecast. I mean, I don't know how no if I don't think they hit forecast period. And I think they fall very short of it. Just by looking at how the charts have been moving. Again, they've been accumulating a decent amount of longs. Now they're grabbing shorts to try to push it up further. One more stroke. And once they grab those guys, you can call it. They can call it a day and just say, "Yep, we got all the shorts out. We got a lot of longs in. We got our breakout buyers coming at the breakout here or even here." So watch these two areas for a flood of buys. We'll see what ends up happening. But I think they push it up to here, consolidate, and when they fall short on Friday at 8:30, then they can sort of just smash everyone into oblivion. The only thing you gotta be careful is, again, seems to be like every time anytime the market closes and it's just gold and Bitcoin, looks like everyone's just buying gold and Bitcoin. Digital gold rush be damned. We'll look at a few more. Let's see if everything is within that similar mind, and you can see that Atom is pretty low, and again it's followed more closer to ES than Bitcoin has, because Bitcoin had that stupid push up. So it looks like a lot of people are just flooding money into either Bitcoin or Ethereum and ignoring alts. So you probably might want to push more for alts as a push up, but generally you're sort of looking for it to sort of try come up at a point, then clear out all the liquidity here. You got these shorts at these bottoms here pushing up. Sort of once you hit those guys out, then you can sort of bring it back down. Again, we've got a long way to go for that. Same thing, same story with AVAC. And again, it's always nice to have charts that are on similar sort of pairing, because it means your assessment is usually correct. Again, the only sort of I wouldn't say nailing and coughing. The only sort of higher ground sort of thing is sort of Bitcoin, where it's just held itself really strong within this range, and it just said, I don't want to go down, I don't want to go down. So now we're looking at it already at this high, so we'll see how far they want to push it. Again, they've already got a lot of shorts coming in, so they'll probably push it, and hopefully there's a chance for all the altcoins to start pushing higher as well. Once these guys start pushing higher and start reaching their top, you can sort of call that a day, and it pushes back down. Looks simple. Not too much not too much to add on top of today. I don't think anything will come up that will sort of shock us. I mean, I would be surprised if it does. Again, got these longs coming into this wall. They're sort of driving itself. Again, we're watching the reaction when we get that. Oh, this is so excruciating. That's the real question. We can zoom in more. We'll see how this is coming along. Again, they're just letting long slowly go up. They're not moving this wall away. They're not going to be shocked when it gets hit. And if this does get hit and we get a large amount of longs, they'll probably continue down into that lower end push. Once they grab that final liquidity sweep, they can then push back up. Oh, a rally to start. Oh, god damn. Let's see what this which can we stop performance plus. God damn, Ross's. God damn, this looks bad. 2 weeks afterwards. Let's see. Interesting. But nothing you guys want to get into now. I can read that in my spare time. Four things. Let's see what Mr. Powell says. Fed raises benchmark to a range of close to the peak seen before the Great Recession of '08. Fed is on hold. The new forward guidance from the Fed means that the central bank no longer planning or anticipating it will have to hike rates, said Robert Purson. Okay. Instead, the Fed is going to watch the economy and the data and the inflation and decide the best course of action, he said. The Fed is not going to is not on a determined pause, but on hold as assessment policies, as it assesses policies to decide the right policy course. Policy is flexible, not fixed. That makes sense. The press conference, Powell said interest rates are now may be sufficient. Once inflation is down to Fed's 2% target. Okay. So they're not gonna raise it anymore. I mean, most people were calling for that anyway. Gonna go on hold. So that means if something stupid ends up happening, we push it. They're gonna raise these hikes. Idea of the rates coming down soon is off the table. The market expects the Fed is going to cut rates 3 times this year, beginning in September, but Powell stressed this is not the Fed's forecast. The firm's conclusion today is that the rates coming down anytime soon is off the table. Makes sense. In a world, if in that world the forecast is broadly right, it would be appropriate to cut rates. Yes, what a world to live in. I thought he was pretty clear in things. Credit tightening, okay. I thought he was pretty clear that things look like they have tightened more than they would anticipate for the next developments. Got some clues. Still strains of the bank sectors appear to result in credit tightening for household and businesses, Powell said. If you guys still not sure, I mean, that's probably signs of recession, because that's what caused the great '08 crash. The Big Short. I mean, yeah, there's nothing sort of too much to add. Like for today, everything looks like it's on track. It's a 50-50 week. Next week's worse off for wear. So the higher we start, the more we can go down. But it needs to be worse for wear, just purely based on the fact that we are looking for pushes. Oh, was I just trying to switch to yeah, option data. Still on SPY option. Oh, it's all the way down here. Yeah. Oh no. Behave. Oh, we look very British now. Those are all calls. Now they're puts. So I'm in 2 weeks to madness. June looks very bullish. Especially if this is coming in. We wanted to go under these guys. Which they were at 400 and 390. There was ones much lower, but they must have sort of gotten off the books. So essentially, what we want is come down, then be above. Then depending on how the options change, it changes. But it's not really sort of too far gone. I'm not gonna bore you guys any longer. We just got to confirm again the 2 scenarios we're looking for. I mean, one big scenario is this. hits into this, pushes back down, heavy on the shorts here, then pushes back up, breaks out, grabs liquidity and stops here. Then we hold it up here for Friday. Friday we drop it, and I think I'm more inclined to that. But if we do it where we come in, instantly go up, hold it, just push down and spike it during session and hitting low, then Friday comes in and hits target, pushes back, and it sort of hits like that. And with SPY, I think it wants to do this where it comes in. I mean, it can come in and do this, push back down, pushes, holds, hit, or it could sort of push and hold here, break out, and hit into this. Then for Friday, come back down. Again, we don't want to go too far, too low, too fast. That's always a bad sign. And I think with that, we can end it. Got nothing more to add. Things look boring. And I am tired. All hell. So I'll catch you guys